Okay, I need you to hear me out on this one. Two cities that both think they're running the future, and honestly, they might both be right. One of them built the apps, the platforms, and the startup culture that the entire world copies. The other one built the actual physical infrastructure of the future, the 5G networks, the smart cities, the technology that makes everything else possible. San Francisco versus Seoul. Silicon Valley royalty versus Asia's most wired city. Fog and venture capital versus neon lights and 1 gigabit internet speeds. This one is genuinely hard to call. Let's get into it. Tech power and AMP, global clout. Let's start with what these cities actually mean to the world, because both of them carry serious weight and for completely different reasons. San Francisco is ground zero for the tech industry as we know it. This is where the whole Silicon Valley ecosystem lives and breathes. Apple, Google, Meta, Salesforce, Airbnb, Uber, OpenAI. These aren't just companies, they're the platforms that billions of people worldwide use every single day. The venture capital money that flows through San Francisco and the surrounding Bay Area funds more startup activity than almost anywhere else on the planet. If you have an idea and you want someone to write you a check for it, there is nowhere on earth more dialed in for that than this city. The startup culture here isn't just a vibe, it's the actual air people breathe. Every coffee shop has somebody pitching a deck. Every networking event is someone's come-up story in the making. SF basically invented the modern tech startup playbook and the rest of the world has been copying it ever since. Seoul is playing an entirely different game, and it's a game that's arguably more important for what comes next. Korea's tech giants, Samsung, LG, Hyundai, SK, aren't startups. They're global industrial powerhouses that make the physical components everything else runs on. Your phone's screen? Probably Samsung. The chips in your devices? Korea is deep in that supply chain. And Seoul as a city is a living demonstration of what happens when a government goes all in on tech infrastructure. 5G that actually works everywhere. Smart city technology baked into daily life. Fiber internet speeds that make American broadband look embarrassing by comparison. San Francisco builds the software layer. Seoul builds the hardware that the software layer runs on. Both cities matter. But they matter differently. The money situation real talk. Let's get into what actually hits your bank account in each city. San Francisco tech salaries are elite. No other word for it. A mid-level software engineer in SF can pull a total comp package that would sound made up to someone working in almost any other industry. The startup equity, the bonuses, the base salary, when it all stacks up, the earning potential here is genuinely at the top of what any city in the world offers for tech workers. The problem? California takes its cut. State income tax in California is among the highest in the country, and San Francisco has its own city taxes on top of that. The gross number on your offer letter and the number that actually lands in your account every 2 weeks are very different conversations. Seoul salaries in tech and corporate roles are solid, but the structure works differently. Korean corporate culture traditionally tied compensation to seniority and tenure rather than pure market rate. That's changing fast, especially at tech companies and international firms, but you'll want to understand what you're getting into before you compare numbers on paper. Here's the flip side though, your dollar, or won, stretches dramatically further in Seoul. The cost of daily life is just more manageable. And that changes the whole calculation when you run the actual numbers on quality of life per dollar earned. Cost of living, no sugarcoating. I'm gonna be honest with you here because a lot of these comparisons gloss over how rough this is for San Francisco. San Francisco is one of the most expensive cities in the entire world. Full stop. A one-bedroom apartment in a decent neighborhood, not even a nice neighborhood, just a decent one, can run you $3, $4, sometimes $5,000 a month. Groceries at a normal supermarket feel like a luxury purchase. Going out to eat regularly will drain your account faster than you expect. And the California state income tax means you need to be earning serious tech money just to live a comfortable life. Not a lavish one, a comfortable one. The city has also been dealing with a visible homelessness crisis, and some neighborhoods have changed significantly over the last decade. That affects the daily experience of living there in ways that don't show up in the salary comparison. Seoul is not cheap, let's be clear about that. It's one of Asia's major financial capitals, and it has the prices to match in certain areas. But compared to San Francisco, it's a completely different tier. Rent for a nice apartment in a good Seoul neighborhood is a fraction of what equivalent SF housing would cost. Public transit is so affordable it barely registers as an expense. The food, whether you're hitting a convenience store at midnight or sitting down at a full restaurant, is dramatically cheaper than anything comparable in the Bay Area. Healthcare is also significantly more affordable in Seoul, which is not a small thing if you're thinking about a 5-year stretch of actually living somewhere. The bottom line is simple: the same quality of life costs you considerably less in Seoul. That gap is real, and it compounds over time. Day-to-day life in AMP vibes. This is the part that actually determines whether you're happy or miserable, so let's get into it properly. San Francisco has a vibe that's genuinely hard to replicate anywhere else. The geography alone is stunning: hills rolling down to the bay, the Golden Gate Bridge just sitting there looking ridiculous, ocean beaches accessible from the city, world-class parks. The West Coast energy is real. People are laid back, progressive, and generally pretty chill about how other people choose to live their lives. The food scene is exceptional. The diversity is real. On a beautiful day with the fog lifting over the bay, it's hard to argue with the decision to be there. The tech culture is everywhere, and it's interesting even when it's sometimes a lot. You're surrounded by people building things, talking about building things, or funding people who are building things. If that energy excites you, SF is like being plugged directly into the source. Seoul hits differently, and I mean that in the most literal sense. The city runs at a pace that's unlike anything in the United States. It's not frantic in a stressful way, it's just alive in a way that's electric. The nightlife runs genuinely late. The food culture is everywhere, all the time: street food, convenience store food that's actually good, restaurant districts where the options go on for blocks. The internet speed and digital infrastructure makes you feel like you're living in 2030. Everything from paying for things to ordering food to navigating the city is more seamlessly digital than almost anywhere else on Earth. And then there's the cultural moment Seoul is in right now. K-pop, K-dramas, Korean cinema. The global influence of Korean culture has blown up in a way that's actually unprecedented for a country this size. Being in Seoul right now feels like being in a city that the whole world is paying attention to. SF built the platforms everyone uses. Seoul became the content everyone watches. Getting around quick but important, because how you move through a city shapes your entire daily experience. San Francisco has BART and Muni, which cover the core of the city reasonably well. But the Bay Area as a whole is still pretty car-dependent, especially once you get outside the dense urban core. Traffic on the Bay Bridge and 101 during rush hour is genuinely rough. If you're commuting to a tech campus in the suburbs, and a lot of tech jobs are, you're either on a company shuttle or you're in traffic. Seoul's metro system is in a different class. It's one of the most extensive, cleanest, and most punctual transit systems in the world. It covers the entire city and most of the surrounding area. Trains run frequently, they run on time, and they run late enough that you can actually have a real night out without worrying about how you're getting home. You don't need a car in Seoul. Not even a little bit. Seoul takes this one, and it's not close. Safety. Straight up, this is one of the starkest differences between the two cities, and it would be wrong to dance around it. Seoul is one of the safest major cities in the world. Violent crime is genuinely rare. Streets at 2 a.m. feel safe in a way that isn't common in American cities of this size. Women traveling alone at night, leaving stuff unattended, walking through unfamiliar neighborhoods. The safety baseline in Seoul is at a level that most Americans find surprising until they actually experience it. San Francisco has had a rough stretch. The city's homelessness crisis is visible and significant. Petty crime, car break-ins, and retail theft have been well-documented problems that the city has been working to address. There are absolutely safe, comfortable neighborhoods in SF, but the overall safety experience is incomparable to Seoul's. If safety is a top 3 priority for you, and for a lot of people it is, Seoul has a real and meaningful advantage here. Work culture. The professional culture in these two cities reflects their broader personalities pretty accurately. San Francisco's tech scene runs on a startup mindset, flat hierarchies, hybrid or remote flexibility, move fast, iterate constantly, don't be precious about titles. The culture rewards people who take initiative and push ideas forward. There's a reason Silicon Valley became the template for startup culture globally. The environment genuinely does produce fast growth and opportunity for people who are hungry. Seoul's corporate culture has traditionally been built around hierarchy, respect for seniority, and long hours, especially in the chaebol companies like Samsung and LG. That culture is shifting, particularly in the tech and startup ecosystem that's grown significantly over the last decade. But if you land at a traditional Korean conglomerate, the professional dynamic will be very different from what you'd experience at a Bay Area startup. Neither is better, they're different tools for different types of careers and personalities. Weather short one here because neither city is winning a weather contest. San Francisco is famous for its fog, and that reputation is earned. Summers are cool and overcast. Carl the Fog is a local celebrity for a reason. The one thing SF has going for it: temperatures are mild year-round. No brutal winters, no extreme heat. If you hate weather extremes, the consistency is actually pleasant once you adjust to never really getting a proper hot summer. Seoul has legit seasons. Cold winters, actually cold, not Bay Area cold. Hot, humid summers. But spring and fall are genuinely beautiful, mild temperatures, clear skies, the kind of weather that makes you happy to be alive in a city. If you need sunshine and warmth, neither city is perfect. But Seoul's seasonal variety hits different if you grew up with actual weather. Final breakdown. Alright, let's bring it all the way home. Go to San Francisco if you're trying to break into or level up in the startup and venture capital world. If maximizing your tech salary is the primary goal and you're in a role that commands that Bay Area premium. If the West Coast outdoor lifestyle and the startup energy is genuinely what motivates you. If you want to be physically in the room where the tech industry makes its biggest decisions. Go to Seoul if you want your salary to actually let you live well and save money at the same time. If world-class safety and infrastructure matter to you at a daily quality of life level. If you want to be in a city that's having a massive cultural moment globally and building the physical tech infrastructure of the next decade. If you want to live car-free in a city that actually functions beautifully without one. Here's the honest truth. San Francisco's ceiling for the right person in the right role is still arguably the highest of any city in the world for tech careers. But Seoul's floor, the baseline quality of life, the safety, the infrastructure, the affordability, is higher than SF's floor in a significant way. Which one you choose depends entirely on where you are in your career and what you're actually optimizing for. So here's the question I want you to sit with for a second. Same job. Same salary. 5 years of your life. Are you in San Francisco grinding for the come-up? Or are you in Seoul living well while you build? Team SF or Team Seoul? Drop it in the comments and tell me your reasoning. I genuinely want to know what you're prioritizing. Next city matchup is locked and loaded. You already know where to find it. Let's go. Subscribe. City Clash.